I want to talk a bit about Amir Khan's recent release, Sitare Zameen Par. It is supposed to be like the second installment in spirit of his last like movie in public interest, which was Tare Zameen Par. And that movie did great. It's a classic now because of the kind of story it wanted to tell and the characters it used to tell that story. And without a doubt, it has reached that status because of the way the performances were or how the movie was done. But I cannot say the same about Sitare Zameen Par. I would like to make it clear that I did enjoy the movie, but I enjoyed the movie for very different reasons than I did the first one or any other movie in recent years. The main reason that I enjoyed Sitare Zameen Par was because of the kind of story they wanted to tell. It wasn't exactly the execution of the story, and which kind of makes me sad. Some of the amazing scenes in the movie that were well done include the comic relief and balancing it with the serious stuff of the story. And essentially, that is the one liner explanation or the crux of the story, that no matter how serious life gets or no matter how difficult things are for you, you should not forget like what is important. It is literally the social media meme that we kind of see, like this was the whole point, like we keep forgetting this is the whole point. It is in line with that concept, but obviously with different characters in mind and how the coach learns from his own students. One of the things that I absolutely loved about the story was how effortless the turning from seriousness to comic relief was. Often when you see like performance or written issues with a story like this, usually there are some issues with editing as well, or like scene format as well. It often feels like there is a scene cut, another scene cut, another scene cut, like not just like literal cuts in the scene, but also how the scenes are written or how the scenes flow or how they transition from one concept to another. That thankfully was done well in this movie. Like you do not feel or you cannot anticipate that change because of the performances, and it was done really well thanks to the differently abled actors or players in the movie. A lot of actors, including Gopi Krishnan, Vedant Sharma, some with Desai, Rishabh Jain, they have done amazing when it comes to just being, having a presence that is even bigger than Amir Khan in a scene where there are so many great actors alongside themselves. That portrayal or that part of the story, I'm absolutely amazed and impressed with. But the complete opposite of that comes when there are scenes between Amir Khan and other actors in the movie, like Janelia, Brijendra Kala, or Dolly Ahluwalia. There is some sort of a flow, but often the level of energy Amir Khan brings with the other actors and like that energy matches with the other actors in the scene, but the same level of energy does not match with other actors in the scene when it comes to Genelia or Dolly Ahluwalia or Brijendra Kala. And it isn't just the actors, it's also the direction and also the like dialogues written for them. There is obviously some kind of a story flowing there, but the actual conversation that is happening between these two characters or the four characters doesn't really seem grounded. So one of the scenes where Amir Khan like comes home finally after a very long time to ask help from Janelia, hopes that she will drive for them. And basically, like before that actual conversation happens, there's like a 5 to 7 minutes of scene, like where they are basically just yelling at each other without an actual concept of conversation, like just random things based on their past. There is no real transaction of information or point of that scene. A lot of scenes in the movie do the same. Like there are punchlines at the end of the scene, or there is like one liner conversation that is main at the end of the scene. But a lot of conversation in the scene is just without concept. So that it's there to like, just get them screen time. It feels off and out of place. And I have noticed this throughout the movie, like often whenever like the main conversation has happened, the supporting characters who are in the frame do not know what to do, but it makes sense with the supporting actors who are players. It doesn't make sense when you see other actors doing that in the scenes. The film itself is very long. It's over like 2.5 hours, and honestly, there are a lot of scenes where the shots are way too slow and they linger for way too long. And I do believe the if the movie was cut a little bit more and it had remained on the editing floor, then a lot of the movie would have been crisp and the same impact would have been there. There are a lot of scenes that I absolutely loved, which includes like the emotional or like the character arcs for different players or members of the basketball team, and then the one final lift scene where it feels like instead of like the teacher, the coach helping the students are also helping the coach. It kind of brings them on the same level. And it's not just like one is better than the other or one is more experienced than the other, because that is not the case. The whole point of the movie is the makers trying to prove a point that they can take care of themselves. Differently able people can take care of themselves. Neurodivergent people can take care of themselves. And them helping Amir Khan get over his fear of lifts completely fits into that narration. And it also finally proves the point that everybody's normal is different. Like for Amir Khan, it was normal to be in fear of a lift or going in a lift for like decades of his life. Now, I haven't watched Champions, the original Spanish movie, but I do believe obviously there are some changes between that movie and this movie. When it comes to Amir Khan's story, like his own personal journey as a coach to a father who thinks he's capable of taking care of more than just his players, but also like a family and his own kid. I do like that concept, and it is second to the story, and thankfully they have maintained that throughout the runtime. But yes, in the end, it does feel like a lot of the writing was left out for like the filming days. So at the end of the day, they were just put in front of each other to get set the scene and get the story moving with just like one liners, like the flow of the story instead of just entirely well done scenes. Again, I do think a lot of it left on the editing floor would have made the film more fun to watch. Overall, it is a good film, and one of the reasons that I loved it because of the kind of reason it has behind it and the kind of story it wants to tell. Unfortunately, not due to the technical reasons of the movie, which does feel sad given we already have had seen him do something better, which is Tare Zameen Par. But yeah, I do think it is a very good movie. I just have high expectations from Amir Khan and movies made on concepts that are unusual.